The presence activation statement in session 2 is I acknowledge my reflections in the world. So let's look at memory in terms of emotional processing. Because when we live in a time-based paradigm, we think of memory as thoughts and images that come up in our mental, or we even think our mind's eye. Internally, we have these pictures come up. Oh, I'm remembering something. But the memories that we're working with, that we're wanting to process, have no concepts around them. And that's why if we go to therapist, for example, and they ask us to talk about our childhood, and obviously we're paying for it, we need to say something. So we start talking about our childhood. And what we do is we start telling stories about our childhood, which are really going to be interpretations. And interpretation is always the doorway to misinterpretation. And then after doing that for a couple of years, now we have the story I have to deal with that I now believe. So we don't want to go there with this work. If we ask questions about that period of our life, as we'll see as we go on, it's really not about the information that's there. It's about moving energy along the pathway of awareness back into ourselves, back into our emotional body. So the core memories are actually energy experiences, energetic, emotional experiences that happened to us before we had any concepts about it. So, for example, only an adult can have a happy childhood. Okay, I had a happy childhood. When I say I had a happy childhood, what I mean is I have successfully removed the memory of everything that was uncomfortable to me to the point that I can only remember things that were comfortable. Now I've had a happy childhood. Happiness is an adult concept. Children don't think in terms of happiness. So when our memories come up, some do come up as images and insights, those that are useful to us. But when we're working with our inner presence, the way these memories are going to come up, and the way that they have always come up, is as people's behaviors and physical circumstances around us that cause us to become upset. Whenever I'm getting upset by anything that's happening in my world, it's because I'm remembering something. Now, it's hard for us to see that because we are so transfixed by the physical world. So how can something that this person has just said to me be a memory? Because they're saying it now. Okay, the memory is not the physical event. And the memory is not the story I tell myself about it, which I'm addicted to doing. The memory is the emotional signature underneath. So when we ask to be facilitated by our inner presence, it is going to deliberately, and the word deliberate has the word liberate in it, it's going to deliberately bring up the memories that we need to work with. And those are going to come as us being upset by what's happening around us. Now, what we normally do when we get upset by what's happening around us is we react and project ourselves outwards. And that's when we add into it. We add more stuff, more drama into our experience. So, for example, when I say I acknowledge my reflections in the world, what I'm talking about is if you come into the room and start behaving around me like my mother, and so I haven't dealt with my issues around my mother. You come in and you behave like my mother. The moment I go, you're behaving like my mother, I'm not seeing you anymore. I've stopped seeing you. I've stopped seeing what's real in front of me. I'm now seeing a reflection. And the moment I start behaving around you like I behaved around my mother, I'm now projecting. So most of us are living in a state of reflection and projection. In other words, what we're doing is we're driving our car, but we're navigating by looking in the rearview mirror and wondering why we keep crashing into everything. Okay. So what we want to do is to start identifying the memories that are coming up so that we can stop reacting to them and start responding to them. So the person bringing the memory to us is a messenger. They don't even know they're carrying the message because presence is working inside of them to do this because we've asked to be facilitated. But what I like to do is when the messenger appears, I like to take up my shotgun and shoot the messenger. It's the same as the male person coming to the door and bringing me a bill, and I open the bill and it's a horrendous bill and I start screaming at the male person. It's also the same as going to the mirror and looking and seeing that I've got pimples and then I start cleaning the mirror. It's called ineffectual behavior. So the first thing we want to do is to start recognizing the messengers, and in that way, when I can recognize the messenger, when I can get into messenger, and messenger is also an interesting word like messender, the one comes to help us to end the mess. And usually the greatest messengers are the ones that love us the most. They love us enough to have enough courage to bring our stuff and show it to us. So presence will use people that are really close to us. They're our clearest mirrors. But if I get upset by anything, you can be sure it's my stuff, no matter how it looks on the outside world. Because if I do not have anger in me, you cannot make me angry. And if I do not have fear in me, you cannot make me scared. And if I do not have grief in me, you cannot make me grieve. So if I'm getting angry with you, it's my anger I'm feeling. It's got nothing to do with what's going on outside. You're just reflecting it for me. Because I can't see those memories, I have no insight. Insight requires that I see with the eyes of the emotional body. Okay, so physically we can be connected, and physically we can be separate. I can move away from you. Mentally we can be connected, we agree on something, and mentally we can be separated. But emotionally, as far as energy and motion is concerned, no one is separated from anyone in this world. And emotions, to be able to see energies in motion and to be able to see my own energies in motion, which are causing these experiences to be reflected outside of me, be able to see the connection between what's going on in my heart and the reflection happening in the world, requires that I have insight. I can see inside my own heart. Until I have insight, everything appears to be happening outside. So the first thing we want to do is to be able to discern between what's really going on and what's really not going on. When I get upset, what's really not going on is that that person is actually trying to do something to me. That's the illusion. What's really going on is that the universe is trying to bring something to my attention, an emotional dysfunction in my own being that I can no longer see, so that I can work with it. Memory is also a recurring pattern. So we're going to look a little bit about memory here. Memory is also a recurring pattern. And that's why we'll say, I don't know why this keeps happening to me. I go to this job, I do my best, but the boss picks on me. It always happens wherever I go. The bosses are useless in this world. Can't find a good boss in this world. Okay, it always keeps happening because that boss is always reflecting my relationship with my father in the past, who used to pick on me as a child, and I have an unresolved memory of that, and it keeps repeating over and over and over until I resolve it. And memories come in a pattern. For a moment, let's sit and connect our breathing. Close the eyes so you can have some insight. Take your attention off the outside and bring to awareness that emotional upset that happened recently that we spoke about when we entered this journey together today. And all that you are required to do is look at that and be prepared, even though emotionally it might be difficult, but be prepared to look at that event or that behavior or that circumstance as having been a messenger that was trying to bring something to your attention. As simple as that. See the messenger. Okay, open your eyes, come back. It's not hard. It's no effort here. We're so used to trying to do things, like really going to try and do... No, don't. The less effort we put onto something like that, the quicker it's going to work for us. You'll find that in your life, the things that you thought about effortlessly, you put your attention on that effortlessly, next moment they happened. Effort is really not that necessary. So just see it as a messenger that's already doing something to that experience. It's already transforming it.